Today is the hottest day of 2026 so far, and New Hampshire does get quite hot. And I've been doing a series of shorts recently that kind of has changed the way I've been thinking about the farm content. And some of you watching this, if you're new to the channel, you may have found me through the shorts that I've been doing, and I've been doing one short every single day for the last 60 days. And I've gotten a lot of new subscribers this way, and if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do that if you're interested in what we're discussing here. I am going to apply a lot of the same concepts that had me doing shorts every day to long form content. So if you are a fan of frank discussions and real talk without trying to posture and show you the prettiest edited face of small farming and homesteading, then I think you're going to enjoy what we have going on here. We're raising heritage hogs on pasture the old-fashioned way in western New Hampshire. I work a part-time job here as a pretend farmer, raising and breeding both feeder pigs for the freezer and also breed stock to improve the pigs and the herds and the breeds of pigs that I am raising, and also to be able to supply other folks around. And I've been doing this for about 6 years, so I've learned a decent amount in that time, but there's also a lot that I don't know. And in today's video, I'm going to just show you and tell you a little bit about the one most basic thing that I think any small farmer absolutely should have if you're going to be raising livestock of any kind. And this might kind of surprise you because it's not a very obvious thing. I definitely did not have it myself when I started raising pigs, and it kind of bit me in the butt more than a few times. Now that I have it, I can't imagine going back and doing without it. And that thing is a large refrigeration system. Now, I am talking to you from what used to be a custom, meaning non-USDA inspected butcher shop where farmers could bring their cow, get it processed, and then take the whole cow, all the cuts, back home, put it in their freezer, eat it within their own family, give it away, etc. In the state of New Hampshire, we are awaiting the governor's signature on House Bill 396, which will make custom cut meat available to be sold in retail context. In other words, I can raise a pig, butcher it right here in my own shop without the USDA overseeing, and people can come and see my farm, they can come and meet me, they can see what we're doing, how we're doing it, and I can sell them those cuts without having to involve the USDA, as long as the animals are raised in New Hampshire, they're being sold in New Hampshire to people who live in New Hampshire, everything is intrastate. And so it's, a sensible way to downsize government, which in my opinion is one of the best things that we can be doing all the way across the board. This was actually a butcher shop, and I was running actual commercial HVAC equipment to cool down the different rooms in this butcher shop. There is a cooler and a freezer. And the cooler, which I'll take you over here and show you briefly, this is the erstwhile cooler. And this is probably 15 feet wide, 30 or so feet long. And what I can tell you is that it costs, like with this kind of weather, what we have right now where it's 95 degrees out, this would cost about $1,000 a month to run this, and it would take probably close to 12 hours to get the temperature where we would want it in order to be able to hang animals in here so that they would be safe to cool. And there was a rail system that went in here so you could load the animals outside and then slide them down on the rail. They would come all the way down here, and then out that door. We would put them in the cutting room, and we would do all of the processing that way. And I'm really glad that I took the time to dabble in butchering, because knowing how to take apart an animal is really, really important if you're going to be raising animals, because we don't like to think about the worst case scenario. But the reality is, if you have live animals, it's not going to go the way that you anticipate 100% of the time. And it's a really important caveat to be able to know that if you have an animal that is like injured, has a traumatic injury, but is not unsafe to eat because of any kind of infection or pathogen, that you need to be able to dispatch that animal cleanly and process and store the carcass in a way that is going to avoid waste, because it really sucks when you have an animal that has to be put down, but it really, really sucks when you have to put that animal down and you miss out on the economic value and the value of just raising it and consuming it yourself, and it feels like a double waste where you failed the animal and you also like failed yourself and your family, because now you don't even get to eat that. So for example, in a scenario where you have a cow or a pig that's got, let's say, a badly injured leg, it can't get around to the feed and the water anymore, there really isn't money for an expensive vet bill because you're not making that kind of money. So this animal needs to go. If you don't know what to do and you don't have a facility where you can cool your animal and store it in a large refrigerated area, and like I said, just to run this cooler here was $1,000 a month. When I got it serviced to restart this after it had been dormant when I first bought the place, it was $1,800 just to get new coolant put in and just make sure that everything was, tight, there nothing was leaking, and that everything was good to go. HVAC, commercial HVAC is really, really expensive, but not having it is also expensive, because when you have an animal that's injured and needs to get put down, you're now at the mercy of whoever is available to provide that service to you if you are not able to do it yourself. And sometimes that means missing the window and then the animal is dead. And by the time the animal's dead and you get home from work, that animal's been sitting there for 4 or 5 hours and it's a little questionable, and you certainly aren't going to be able to sell it to somebody. And you might even feel a little bit, unsafe feeding that to your own family. So in those kind of cases, having the facility to be able to do these things yourself is of the utmost importance. And I learned that after the fact. You can probably tell that this is a fairly emotionally charged topic for me, because I've had to waste some animals because I couldn't get someone here to process it in time, and I didn't have the space at the time set up and running, or didn't know how to use the space. And so my recommendation is not that you should get a commercially cooled space like this. It's this big, because it's insanely expensive and it takes a lot of time to get it cool. And then, when you are done with it, you're wasting a lot of cold air and money and electricity. And so it's not very efficient for kind of a here and there butchering situation. So let's talk about the Coolbot, which is an amazing, amazing solution to this problem. I turned this Coolbot on about 3 hours ago. It was 81 degrees in there when I turned it on. Right now it is kind of wobbling between 41, well, I got the door open now, so it's like 40 degrees, 39 degrees, and it is beautifully cold. I'm gonna actually put this seltzer water in there to cool off, but let me just show you what the system looks like. A Coolbot is a small electronic sensor that gets wired into a residential air conditioning unit. And basically what it does is it tricks the thermostat on the AC and tells it that we haven't reached the temperature yet, because most of the time we turn the AC on, we set it to like 60 something, and then it brings the temperature down and switches off. The Coolbot tells the thermostat, nope, we're not there yet, keep going. And it can actually bring the air temperature down to like 34 degrees, 33 degrees, just above freezing. And that's with a residential air conditioning unit. This is the front piece off of the box, an LG 12,000 BTU, 550 square foot room. Now the cooler that I have mine in is 8 cubic feet roughly. And it was, when I was running this as a butcher shop, this actually was the walk-in freezer. And instead of using the cooler as the cooler, I converted the walk-in freezer, put a Coolbot in it because it's already insulated and the installation was much easier as a result. Just cut a hole in it, threw the AC in. I had a good friend of mine, Kent, who helped me set up my grain bin. I'll link that video below if you're interested in meeting him. very handy to have friends that are technically capable when you're farming, I will tell you that. And it's already tight and ready to go. And then for freezer space, I just use chest freezers and old freezers that I've been able to pick up from, on Facebook or Craigslist or what have you. And that way I'm able to both freeze and refrigerate. And so when an animal of mine needs to be put down, even if you don't have a hanging system or a rail system, as long as you have a large enough space where you can take an animal, if it's a cow or beef, you can divide it into quarters, a pig, divide it into halves, put a couple of clean metal tables in there and put it in there and get it in half, let it cool, and then you have the ability to work from there, whether you're going to process it yourself or grind it or give it away or have somebody else take it to their facility so that they can process it. But at least you have the opportunity to make sure that you can store your own meat if the situation calls for it. And when it comes to the cost of this, that's really one of the biggest wins I think that is involved in this, because the cost of the air conditioner was $400 or so. Getting the commercial HVAC system serviced was $1,800. So even if this AC that's running my Coolbot, even if this AC that's running my Coolbot completely craps the bed, I can just let it go and buy a new AC for $400, and I'm still saving money, because if I called the guy that works on the commercial HVAC system who would have to service the big system that ran the cooler that I was using previously, I'd be paying $1,000 just for him to get in his truck and come over here. So the Coolbot is saving you money right out of the gate. And then the monthly cost of running this is like 75 bucks. Now, I don't run it all the time because I don't need it all the time, but I can get it down to temp so that I can use it within 3 hours. That's a pretty quick startup, pretty quick turnaround, and it changes the dynamic and gives you a lot more confidence when you realize that if you have an injured animal, you're able to get them out of their misery and into a useful state quickly and competently by yourself, without having to be at the mercy of other processors and other schedules that are beyond your control. And if you're going to bring an animal onto your farm, you have to have a well thought out strategy for, this is how this animal is going to leave my farm, and this is what's going to happen if X, Y, or Z does occur. This is how I'm going to be able to deal with it. It's not responsible animal husbandry to bring an animal into a situation where I got him here, I'm going to have to figure out what to do with him now. You need to be able to know that you have their arrival and their exit already mapped out with the ability to handle contingencies. And having a self-contained system like the Coolbot, it's vastly underrated, and I don't think enough people realize this and are talking about it. And it makes home butchery very, very accessible, because it's cheap to build, cheap to set up, cheap to run, and you can build an entire kit around whatever air conditioning unit you have or how much space you want to fill up. I just used this commercial freezer because I already had it here, because it was already part of the pre-existing operation and it was well insulated and airtight. It was a no-brainer for me. But you can get a couple of insulated panels. I know some people who have done this, and they get it set up for a couple $100, and the air conditioner for, let's say, $1,500. You have everything put together where you're able to butcher an animal, hang it in halves, and then process it out for your family. You can smoke and cure your bacon, your hams. You have a refrigerated space where you can put buckets with the brine and hang your bellies so that you can make your own bacon and do this yourself. This puts you in the driver's seat. Not that you always want to be in the driver's seat, because I am more than happy to call on my butcher, Doug, to do my butchering for me 99 times out of 100. But I know how to do it myself, and I have the facility to do it myself. So if I need to do it myself, I always have that option. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And the cost of a system like this, a little Coolbot, that cost is much lower than a commercial system by orders of magnitude, and it's a wonderful thing to have. I'm going to start using it hopefully this fall. I have a couple of my pigs that I'm planning to do myself. You know, we'll probably do most of the cutting outside when the temperature will permit, and then we can just store everything inside the Coolbot to make sure that it sits at temperature for the time that we need to store it, so that we don't have to rush. Because if you have cool temperature and a cool place to store the meat, you're able to take your time and do it the way you want without rushing, because you're not worried about food poisoning and pathogens growing on there. So guys, if you appreciate this type of video and you don't mind not having a bunch of fancy B-roll, I'm going to be making a lot more of these videos. I'm going to try for like 3 or 4 a week to keep up with my daily shorts production, because I want to create more of a conversation around small farming and real talk about what actually matters. My name is Stephen Reichert. This is Rowan Ridge Farm. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys very shortly on the next video.